didn't do that to Kent. You didn't do that to
No,
any of those
it was
guys.
100% targeted at him. He knows what he did wrong. You and I have been in the sport for so long that, like, eventually you step on someone's toes too many times and you just write that person off. Because in reality, I had this conversation with myself when that January hit. I said, I have two choices that are going to happen here. I'm either going to just completely pull out of sport and I'm going to build my businesses and they'll do great. And I'll probably lackadaisically work out and I'll probably go start having a lot of fun traveling, fucking around, drinking, going on dates, hooking up, whatever the hell I want to do. Or you can take the next 6 months and just put everything away and make the decision of becoming a world champion and a world record holder again in a way that is going to change your life. And what I've done all those other things a million times over for the past, X amount of years. I was like, there's nobody who's going to sit at the table and like listen to me telling stories about how I've been drinking and partying and doing all this stuff. And then they're like, okay, cool. We all do that. And I just put myself in a place where I said, man, if you do this, your life is going to change forever. Take the risk, take the gamble. I got the biggest contract in my entire life with this brand. I've got all these other amazing opportunities that I've ever done that are all set up right in front of me, man. And it was the sacrifices and the time that I took away from friends, family, any of the vices of the world. And I locked myself down over the past 6 months and I gave myself nothing but what was necessary. And I can honestly say I'm on the other side, dude, sitting on a couch right now, hungover. It all worked out. And no one's ever going to believe in it. They're going to celebrate it at the end. They'll sit there and be like, oh, that's cool. But they're not going to believe in it the way that you are. You can be the only person who's going to draw the line in the sand and then fucking toe it and get the work done every single day. And, admittedly, this was probably my hardest training camp because the least amount of people showed up for it. Usually I had a lot more people show up and I was by myself a lot of the training. And I was like, you know what? Just because they're not here does not mean that you're not going to show up. So I just kept on doubling down and look at, we're fucking here.
Well, and I think for any athlete, it's really hard to be that committed and to put in that much work. And you also are running a business. You have a supplement business, and you're also in the Hunter McIntyre business, which means you have to post a lot on social. And I know you have help, but I know you're not at the level of like you don't have a team of seven. You know what I mean? So, what are you sacrificing? Like, do you get less sleep, or just I don't know. I feel like you're doing a lot.
Like I'll admit, like I would drive down and my friend just opened a social club down in Venice, which is like, these kind of incubator, we work spaces and all the fucking hottest girls in the entire world are there. All the coolest people are having fun. And I show up and I'll say hi for 15 minutes. And then my friends will call me like, dude, you missed out. We did X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, okay. My birthday comes, I could be out dancing with my pants off and shirt off on top of a table anywhere I want in the world. And I get on a bike and I rode for 8 hours through the mountains of Cyprus on my birthday. And I climbed 10,000 feet with a bunch of German women that couldn't speak a lick of English. Like I just kept on making the decisions that were the ones that were necessary, not the ones that I dreamed of and the ones that I wanted to do, or the ones that I chopped off immediately. The first idea that ever hit my head, I would always cancel. And I made sure that I changed the favorites on my phone to just people that I could talk to every single day that would keep me in line. My dad, Dennis Welch, my buddy Lou, and Rich Diaz, my buddy Mike Tremello. Like I just would call the people that were 100% necessary. And like, I'm not trying to tell anybody like this is a woe is me story. Like my life's fucking awesome. But I will tell you, it's the difference between. I had conversations with a couple of the other pros, and they were telling me what they were up to, and I was like, "You better plug all that shit away." And they're like, "What?" And they laughed at me, and I was like, "Okay, I'll see you on game day."
So I usually don't do this kind of stuff with you, but let's do it. Let's do a little like zone breakdown. Um, so running 3:24. Well, first of all, when you heard it was 4 laps, how do you approach that? What goes through your mind?
I immediately was like, "Damn it!" But then I thought to myself, I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm going to start lapping these guys like 5 minutes in. And you know what that is? It's just me pouring sand over your dead body. Like it's a miserable place to be passed like that. Every single time I pass you, it's just more dirt, more sand, and it's weighing you down even more mentally. There's nothing worse than getting passed.
No,
Um,
I don't like getting passed by someone in my local 5K, especially at the end, right? Like that's the worst feeling in the world. All right, so we're
yeah,
off and running, 3:24. You're did you what time did you want to be into the first station?
it didn't matter. I had to find out what it was going to take to go around those 4 laps first because you never know. Like everybody says these courses are all the same, but they're just not. So I never try to set the bar. I just know that every single time I was running a 3:30 or less pace in my training. So we hit the 3:24. And then from there, I made sure, as I said, my buddy was hitting me with lap times and I wanted to be at 49 or less per lap. So every single time he'd tell me, I'd either adjust
All
because
right.
that was how we did running.
So the ski erg 336. What did you think you were going to do with ski erg again?
You do the math on that 138. That's exactly it.
Uh, so the second run is 329, so almost the same. So he's just yelling out. And this is what I was saying to people, like even not in World Championship, you should have a buddy. If you're racing elite, you should have a buddy counting your laps for it. You should have a buddy doing something. Like I feel like it's a necessary thing at that level, and it's not that hard to get a friend to be like,
No,
"Hey,
no.
can you yell out lap 2?" Like well, not even split times, just to make sure you don't do the wrong number of laps even.
I
Um,
think if they want to progress this sport to the highest level, people should have 1+1 to be able to give you lap times and also give you nutrition. Like they didn't have that set up for us. If I'm going to advocate for anything next year, we should always be able to have a +1.
and
And like
but
that's
for
just
space reasons, where do they get to go?
no, I mean like you got to just have like a gated off area, and like one area that's considered just like your nutrition thing
Like
or
the
whatever.
coaches or whatever area. So
Yeah,
do,
and
so for
so
for that workout, we saw you grab water, I think, a couple times. Do you store any calories on you, or do you go 100%
no,
just
but I want to start doing it. In training, I would use BOA, and I think I'll probably
boa?
BOA. BOA's always been good, and like I could potentially start taking in fuel elsewhere. Like I think that would be really good, but I don't want to risk it. Like the shorts that I race in, I just don't want to have a can on me. But if I had a table, I'd be like bam bam and throw it back down. Like if I had a partner hand it to me and I could hit it and then toss it back to him, like it'd be a game changer. And if we're gonna keep on pushing the level of the sport, that's what we got to do. Like, in Tour de France, they have people riding alongside them in cars all the time. Like, we're just talking about high level endurance sports. And, if we want to start breaking more records and improve this thing, we need the support.
All right, so second run is 329. Sled 221. Sleds are always a toss up, but what did you in your mind think you were going to do on the sleds?
It didn't matter. The other sticker here was train sleds until you bleed. I spent so much time going from world record pace into a hard sled push into world record pacing running. So I just needed to clean that up a little bit and get out and be quick. That was my only goal, was to get out and be quick. So that worked well on both. And I don't know. I just told myself I'd be 45 seconds up by then, which I was.
All right, well, I guess I have to ask you, uh, why did you feel the need to communicate to one particular athlete, uh, I can't remember if it was between sled push and sled pull. Your old rival Dave Magida. That was very specific. You didn't do that to Kent. You didn't do that to
No,
any of those
it was
guys.
100% targeted at him. He knows what he did wrong. He's a dick. You and I have been in the sport for so long that eventually you step on someone's toes too many times and you just write that person off. David Watson's one of those people to me. There's another David on my, shit list also. So I don't need to get into details. I just listen, if you're going to talk shit about me or do things about me, trust me, when your day of reckoning comes, I'll be the fucking person standing over you. And that's my opinion, and I let it hold its value, and it worked. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. I will contrast that by saying what some might say is, well, that's not what a champion does. A champion should be gracious in victory and defeat. So, for example, not for example, just what
Conor
do you say
McGregor,
about that piece?
Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ric Flair. I'm trying to think of just people that were like awesome trash talkers. What was the name of the was it Bubba Watson?
The
You know,
race car
there's just
driver?
what's that?
The race car driver, Bubba Watson?
Listen, you also have people like Michael Jordan. You have people like whatever is the Mamba, Black Mamba. You know, you got so many people who are just like humongous icons in sport, and trash talking at the highest level is just there. And it's not your business. So stay the fuck out of it. You guys can all have opinions, but I'm the one running in circles and you guys are the ones watching. So unless you're in the arena, it's not unsportsmanlike. It's all part of the game. And you know what? It swings both ways. I get it all the time. People chew me out and talk shit about me all the time. So am I not allowed to because I'm the best?